Libra, how are you? I'm going to do a reading for your current energies. As always, please take what works, leave what doesn't. We all know who we are in the story. Now, I sure appreciate each and every one of you. I really do. And if you appreciate what I do here, help me out. Hit that like button. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Really makes a difference to my channel. And I would love to see my channel continue to grow. So help me make that happen. All right, let's see what's coming through for all of my Libras for the next 7 to 10 days. Grateful, thankful for the messages, always. All right, we got the 4 of Cups to the King of Cups coming in reversed, so there could be a situation around someone where, they're feeling bad about what they did, all right? We've got the King of Cups coming in reverse. This is an energy around someone who, may drink a lot, may do something. I mean, here we are, getting yet another cup of something, to drink. You may be dealing with someone like that, and when you're dealing with someone like that, you just don't know what to do, all right? Here we are in the energy of the 8 of Swords. I just don't know how to help him. I don't know whether I should, continue to support him. What do I do? You're really hung up. All right, we've got the Hanged Man coming in around this person. They're toxic, all right? Here's the Devil energy. It's just so I feel like you are dealing with someone, that, has maybe a drinking problem, or they have an addiction problem, or there's just something emotionally that is really wrong with them. And here you are trying to figure out what to do. It's just maybe once again, they did something that now you have to clean up. And you don't want to clean up their mess that they've created. They could have gotten into a fight. They could have ended up in jail. They could have just done something that, just leaves you feeling bad. All right, because now what am I supposed to do? Now here we have the World card, it's in the recent past. It is upside down. I don't think you see this coming to an end. I think this is how they are. I mean, they're an older person already. This is the king. It's not a page. It's not a knight. This is somebody who, this is the struggle is real with them. And I think, it's really starting to affect you. Because you no longer can enable it, you no longer can tolerate it, you no longer want to deal with it. And here you are with this Page of Pentacles, at a point where, I don't know, maybe I need to go in another direction. Maybe I just need to figure out what I can do the best I can in order to deal with this, because here with the Judgment card coming in reversed, and the World card also reversed, that they are not going to change. So now the thing is you're going to have to make the change. All right. They're not going to change. Are you going to continue to pick up their pieces? Are you going to continue to, buy them another bottle? Are you going to continue to feed whatever it is that is really not healthy that they are doing? I think you're kind of trapped in a way, with the Devil card coming in the near future. It's almost like, it's I don't know how to get myself out of this situation. All right. And here you are with the Hanged Man. All right. Now, the Hanged Man, this energy always talks about well, maybe you've given too much to it. You've tolerated it, to the point where now it really bothers you and it affects your life. And you need to figure out, how do I change this? How do I turn this around? Because you now are in the energy of the Queen of Wands reverse. I mean, it's one of these things. You don't want to go out socially with them because, that's a problem. And, she is somebody who likes to be out and about. And we do have the 3 of Cups coming in. And it's just well, gosh, I don't want to go out. And now they're going to make a fool of themselves in front of my friends, in front of my family. And then that makes me feel bad. You like to be more in control of the situation than what it is. So I feel like you're at a crossroads, and I think the Hanged Man is saying you've got to really look at this. You've really got to look at the situation. You got to look at what you played, your part in it. You have to look at how you can turn this around, how you can maybe, get yourself out of this situation. With the 3 of Cups, I want to say that, there's people around you that could probably help you. You don't have to do this alone, all right? Because they probably know what you've been dealing with, and maybe they're not, wanting to get in front of you, or they don't want to say anything for fear of how you might respond. But I do feel like there are people around you that can help you, deal with, the reality and, help you gain some perspective, because the Hanged Man says, I need to get some perspective on this. I just can't continue doing this. Now, at the base of what's going on is the Five of Swords. So, you know, I feel as if, you know, you haven't made any shifts or any changes for fear out of how the reaction is going to be. I mean, because I feel like, you know, what you want to do is to get away from this energy. You know, nobody wants to deal with somebody who is really difficult or is addicted, you know, and they have all of these troubles. You know, it's that when tough love needs to step in is what I'm feeling needs to happen here. It's just like that tough love has to be put up there for your protection, for you to find some happiness, for you to free yourself from this toxic energy that has got just such a big hold on you. But the fact that we have the Five of Swords coming in here and it is reversed, it's just like you've been avoiding the big blow up, you know, because you know the minute that you step away, you now have destabilized their security and, you know, and allowing them to do what it is that they need to do. You know, so you haven't done anything because of that. You know, it's just like, well, gosh, you know, if I say something, that's going to start this whole domino effect. And, you know, now that's a whole other thing I have to deal with. And I don't know if I want to deal with that. And, you know, how long is that going to last? And it just could go south really fast, right? And that's what you're avoiding. It's just like, I just don't want to do that. You know, is there another way? Maybe they'll just stop on their own and it'll go away, but it's not, you know, it's really clear here that they're not going to change. You know, this is how they are. They've been doing this a long time. You know, and it has to be an external source that comes in that will stop them. And it doesn't mean that has to be you. So the card underneath this Five of Swords is the Hermit. And I really want you to take the time to sit with yourself and really, really look at the whole situation. Look at your part in it, how you can start to maybe break away from some of the energy that you've given too much to. You know, maybe you can slowly make the changes. I mean, the Hermit wants you to go inside because you have a lot of wisdom, you have a lot of experience, you know how this person is, and now you are really faced with, how do I move forward from here? And in order to do that, you have to really see the whole picture, how you play a part in their lives, how their addiction plays a part in your life, how moving forward, you know, things could change, what you can do to put in place in order to implement some of these changes. All of those things is what you need to start looking at. So, you know, it's going to be a heavy week for you, Libra. I mean, you're going to have to really look at things, you know, from an objective perspective. And, you know, listen, you're a Libra. I mean, you know, you're weighing it back and forth and back and forth. You need to find the balance, and you need to bring that harmony back into your life, you know, somehow, some way, because that's the only way a Libra is going to be happy, is when everything is beautiful and everything's going good and everything's harmonious, you know, and all of that. And that's where you need to like start pointing your attention to and saying, how do I get there? And how do I break away from this toxic energy that now has become such a big part of my life? And now how do I change that so that I can feel good moving forward? All right, big week for you, Libra. All right, so, you know, listen, there's no hurry. It's better to kind of really sit and process, like talk to your friends. Like I said, I really feel like there's people out there that understand what you're going through, and they're just waiting for you to say, I really need some help. I need some feedback. I need to know what to do next. Can you help me? All right, because they're there. All right, so listen, that's what I've got for you, Libra, for this week. Please take what works, leave what doesn't. We all know who we are in the story. I sure appreciate each and every one of you. And if you appreciate what I do here, hit that like button. All right, like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Makes a difference to my channel, and I really appreciate each and every one of you. So with that being said, be happy, be healthy, be kind, and I'll see you later. Bye now.